If you've been following the news at all recently, you've probably heard the question posed, are we moving towards a market crash in the near future? And many people are worried on what they should do, whether they should buy or sell their home. Well, in today's video, we want to talk about that. So this is going to be a bit of a longer video. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's jump into it. Hey everyone, Garret OLeary here with the OLeary Brothers team here at Lead Realty. Thank you for clicking on this video. We surely do appreciate it. If you like the content, consider subscribing. It would make a huge difference to us. But anyway, let's get back to that video. Are we heading towards a market crash? This question deserves to be answered, and so we're gonna do our best to talk about it and try to provide as much information as we can. So let's get started. I think the first thing that pops into people's mind when they're thinking about a potential market crash is what happened in 2008. Well, we can confidently say that what happened in 2008 is an entirely different situation than what is going on right now. In a nutshell, what happened in 2008 is that people that definitely should not have been getting loans were receiving loans from dangerous and very much suspect mortgage lending practices. Eventually, when the market kind of turned down a little bit, these people could not afford the payments that they were having to make on their homes and eventually defaulted. The ensuing carnage from so many people defaulting on their loans led to what really happened in 2008 and a housing bubble basically bursting and then housing prices drastically crashing. And again, what happened then is a completely different situation and is definitely not what is happening right now. So that begs the question, what is going on right now? Well, fortunately, from the events of 2008, we learned our lessons and we revised how people are being approved for loans. Buyers have to jump through more hoops to get approved and have to provide more information on their financial stability. In my personal opinion, this is probably one of the major reasons we won't be seeing a market crash in the near future. People that have bought homes can afford them. So what we're seeing here on the Emerald Coast is that even if they've bought their home at top dollar, they have equity in their homes pretty much from the get-go. Now, typically the follow-up questions to this is the kind of about the concept of a market correction. Now, the way I like to conceptualize this is to think as real estate as local, not national. What this means is that particularly what happens here on the Emerald Coast won't necessarily happen everywhere else in the country and vice versa. What we believe and what other financial analysts believe is that there will be some market corrections, but that will be limited to the larger markets such as Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and those huge markets like that. Overall, that spells good news for us on the Emerald Coast. While we do see there might be some values that decrease here on the Emerald Coast, we really only foresee that happening on the properties that were bought significantly over original asking prices. And you'll see some of the equity lost in those homes. But that's mostly because they didn't actually match the appraisal value and people decided to just spend cash on top of that asking price to just own a home. Ultimately, if you are watching this video and you live on the Emerald Coast or someone that wants to move to the Emerald Coast, I don't think you have to be worried about a market crash. The market cooling is something that needs to happen for everybody. Plus, to add to that, the Emerald Coast benefits of having a bunch of military installations dotted around the coast that keep the market stable. There's always new residents flowing into the area, which again, make us believe that a market crash won't happen here and even a market correction won't happen. All right, before I go, I do want to introduce my brother, Sean. He's gonna make his appearance and wants to give his 2 cents on the matter of what we're talking about today. So I'll let him take over.
Hey everybody, Sean OLeary here with the OLeary Brothers team. I know you haven't seen me much on these videos. I'm usually on the sales side and let my brother Garret take over a lot of the informational side and the marketing side, but I wanted to introduce myself real quick. I've purchased my first home at 18 years old. I'm now 28 years old and since then have bought and sold over 40 properties myself personally. I love real estate. I've been doing it a very long time and this market is a little bit concerning to me and I'd love to explain why. So amongst other things, inflation, rising prices everywhere, interest rates going up. What's great about our area is that in smaller markets, they typically don't fluctuate as much as larger markets do. Now that works both ways. So when larger markets prices skyrocket, our prices tend to stay pretty normal. They don't increase as much, which also means that when larger markets take a bigger fall, when a correction or a crash comes, the same can be said with a decrease in our area. So that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about our area. However, what I am a little concerned with, especially on the smaller end scale, because when you're buying real estate, you always have to be vigilant when purchasing a home. You never want to be house poor. So what I've been seeing in the market recently in our area is that I've noticed some price reductions in houses. That's one. I've noticed houses have been staying on the market a little bit longer than normal. And also houses that would have had 3, 4, 8 offers are either getting just a few or none at all. So those are typically some pretty good market indicators that say that the tide is changing. So what does that mean for buyers that were fed up getting outbid, outpriced, and just so sick and tired of even giving an offer on a house just 3 or 4 months ago? Well, this isn't gonna be for everybody, but for some of those buyers, this might be an opportunity, might not be right now, but in the coming month or so, it might be an opportunity to take a second look at possibly making an offer on a home. Now, for the buyers that do not want to take a second look, here's some things that I have to say you should look into. So the Fed, we already know, has risen rates. We went from about 2.75 in January to now 5.25 now. They've been talking about raising them at least a few more times in the coming months and possibly more throughout the year. Now, even if a house swings up 10, 20,000 or down 10, 20,000, that's a very small amount of money to be paid over a 30-year span on a normal 30-year mortgage versus a 5% interest rate or 5.25 up to 6.25 to 6.5 and possibly even higher. That really hurts your buying power when you're looking at a house. There's two things to think about. If you were to buy right now at, let's say, 5.25 interest rate, depending on what your credit score is, etc. If the rates do go up, as many do believe they will, and you bought a house today, you can sit back and say, man, I got a great deal. However, if they go down, then you can always do a rate term refinance. It's a very easy process. Talk to a lender about it. So buying now, if you find the right property at the right price, can be beneficial on either end of the scale, whether the prices go up or the rates go down. Now, either way, whether it's with rates or prices, what's concerning to me is the feeling that buyers have right now and sellers. There's just a little bit of uncertainty. With inflation going on, prices of gas, food, everything going up, it really makes people nervous. It makes people nervous to sell, and it makes people nervous to buy. Because when uncertainty is in the atmosphere, a lot of people just stop doing what they're doing, which can cause a recession. A lot of what a recession is the feeling of the market in a negative way, which causes people to kind of hurtle in, stop spending, stop going out, stop doing all these things, which can cause the market to either slow down in some cases, correct, or even crash in some larger markets. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant as of what's going on right now, not just because of real estate, but mainly because of inflation. In either case, if you're vigilant and you talk to a realtor, talk to a mortgage company, and you find a great deal, real estate over time, and for the last 100 years, time and time again, has proven that it is a great harbor for middle-class working families to grow their wealth. Even in the crash of 08, houses have regained the losses and some that were seen back in 08. So that tells me that even if we do have a correction, as long as you bought the property right, you can afford the house, you're comfortable with the payment, you got a good rate, that even if the houses were to fluctuate and go down a bit, as long as you could afford that property and you bought it right, you're gonna be in good shape over time and allow you to build that equity that really helps everyone out. So bottom line, I'd like to reiterate this. Talk to a realtor that knows their local market. Be vigilant and look for that great deal. Be pre-qualified so when that great deal comes along that you're ready to react and make an offer, and ensure that you can afford that property, because in the long term, it's gonna work out for you. Anyway, if you stuck around for the entire video, we appreciate you. Please consider subscribing. We have linked a couple articles in the description below that go into further depth of this discussion. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. We'd love to hear your ideas or interest in the topic that we discussed today. If you're looking to move to the Emerald Coast or looking to sell a house here, we'll leave our contact information right here. And with that, we'll see you on the next video. See ya.